So I was working in Los Angeles as a film and television actor. I had just had a film that had several Oscar nominations, and I was playing a fairly well-known, I was playing Cassius Clay, so somebody that a lot of people knew. It had a lot of critical acclaim. And I had been working in film and television as an actor in LA for about 10 years professionally. I was just taking off with my career. It was a big breakout. But I was attending the Seventh-day Adventist church, but I didn't know our message. I had read the Bible, I believed in the Sabbath, but I didn't listen to Ellen White. The church was kind of divided. Some people in the church would say, yeah, you should definitely read it. Other people would say, oh, you don't need that.
Yeah, that's old-fashioned.
Yes, yeah, or even, I don't listen to that stuff. And, so for me as a person coming into the church, I was like, if you guys aren't even sure about it, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so I would go to church on Sabbath, but I never called myself an Adventist really. I believed in the Sabbath, I believed in the Bible. What happened was COVID hit. And about a while before, when I was still living in Vancouver, a friend of mine had given me the Total Onslaught series. And I had watched it, about 5 minutes of it. And I said, this guy's crazy.
He's totally nuts.
I said, this guy's nuts. I threw it away. I gave it back to my buddy, his name was Israel. I said, Israel, thanks. I think you know, this is a little bit much for me, I'm good. And then COVID happened a while later, years later. And I was sitting in my apartment in Studio City. I was looking out my window on Tahunga Boulevard, and I saw military truck. Then I'm looking at the news, I see Naomi Campbell's in a hazmat suit at LAX. I'm looking at Hollywood. There's no cars in Hollywood on Highland Ave. I said, this is unbelievable. At the same time, I'm doing a lot of meetings with Spielberg's executive companies, with Tyler Perry's companies, with a lot of different high-level production people, because they want to see if there's projects they can work with me on now that I had this film that broke out. And not to say anything about those gentlemen in particular, but I spoke to quite a few executives, and the messaging that they were saying to me in our meetings was all about promoting a satanic agenda. It was always about life after death, eternal life, Masonic imagery, I won't even name the project because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but there was everything about it. There was people that were doing sun worshiping cults and wanted me to come. There were friends of mine that were Freemasons that were promoting Freemasonry in our interviews blatantly. And so I said, man, that stuff that guy said is true. I'm living it, I'm seeing it in my own life, that this guy was telling the truth. And I couldn't remember who you were. So I started looking, I'm like, conspiracy theory, German Adventist guy, I'm like trying to find you, and I found you. And then I watched Total Onslaught. In 3 days, I watched all 36. I just was like one after the next. And I said, oh man, this is real. And then I had a choice to make, because I'd been working so long for my career, and I finally had my hands on it, and I was
don't want to let it slip.
Yes. And then at the same time, I'm like, but this message is the truth, and Jesus really is coming, and I have an opportunity that I won't get another opportunity to do this. And so at that moment, I was like, what profiteth a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? I believe Jesus is coming. I believe the message was true. I started listening to my pastor, Dr. O, because that came up after I watched you. You've been to State Line Seventh-day Adventist Church, so you know Dr. O. And then after that, I listened to both of you guys, and both of you guys were talking about Ellen White so much. I said, well, I trust these guys, and they keep talking about Ellen White. I should give her a chance, And so I read Adventist Home first, and that touched me on a really personal level. And then I read Great Controversy. And after that, I said, this is undeniable. She's a prophet. These things could not have been written by a human being, just under their own wisdom, under their own understanding. Impossible. And so that's how the call came to me. And then God drew me into ministry as I left that.
How glad I am to see that, because you are a person that can influence minds, and you had to make a choice, right?
Yes.
And that choice was salvational. And you see all the people out there trapped in systems.
Yes.
And the motivation that I had in making Total Onslaught was not to be sensational like many people believe, but to enlighten those that are trapped in those systems to realize what they're trapped in and to make a decision to come out.
Praise God. Well, I mean, I can tell you personally, it affected me. I'd love to say my sister Bianca, she'll be happy that I mentioned her, and my best friend Serene Knight are two other people that were, saw the videos. They saw that it was the truth, and they made a total shift, and moved into ministry, moved out of the world that they were in, got baptized, and are now present truth Seventh-day Adventists. Incredibly grateful for the work God did through that.